let's take a look at some classic villains in a newer light. My name is AJ Spatola with Top 10 Nerd. Here are the top 10 villain redesigns that are way better than the original. At number 10 is Mac Gargan's Venom. See, the original Venom was just Spidey's old black costume with a creepy smile slapped onto it, but when Mac Gargan, aka the Scorpion, took over the symbiote, he went all in the new design. You see, Eddie and the black symbiote suit had to part ways, leaving the Scorpion to bond with the Venom symbiote, and the design that we got from that union would go on to inspire Venom's design for years to come. And boy, oh boy, did things change. Gargan's Venom looked way cooler. They added some more white to the mix, which made the design really pop, and he got jacked. Like, seriously, this Venom had some insane muscle mass going on. Goes to show that just a wee little makeover can do wonders. Gargan's Venom took the classic look and cranked up the fierceness factor by like 10 times. At number 9 is the modern Brainiac. Brainiac's evolution has been quite the roller coaster ride, with his different designs reflecting the changing times. You see, back in the day, his Bronze Age robot form was cool, but pretty generic for the time. It lacked that classic Brainiac flair. Now, post-Crisis, they tried to get back into the roots, giving him more human-like vibes mixed with machinery. Then came the post-Infinite Crisis era, where Brainiac looked like he hit the gym a little bit too hard. Like, way too beefy if you ask me, especially for a character literally named Brainiac. But that black and white costume with the purple accents, now that was a move in the right direction. Then it all culminated in Justice League No Justice, where we finally got that sleek, modern look that was almost like the perfect Instagram filter for the Silver Age Brainiac. And boom, villain upgrade achieved. If you're enjoying this video so far, please support the channel by pressing like, subscribing to Top 10 Nerd, and ringing that notification bell. You can also leave a comment, say something nice. At number 8, Akihiro's old man's costume. Wolverine's son, Akihiro, had a very rocky relationship with his father, but then Norman Osborn recruited him to be among the Dark Avengers to take on the spot of Wolverine, and things took an interesting turn. You see, Akihiro stepped into his father's shoes quite literally by wearing the very same iconic brown and orange costume that Wolverine used to don all those years ago. This costume makeover was a game changer. Akihiro's tattooed left arm added a unique flair to the outfit, making him stand out even more. Suddenly, he transformed from a shirtless brawler into a menacing, true-to-form Wolverine. Fans loved it, I loved it, and Akihiro's popularity soared, eventually leading to his very own short-lived series. Sometimes a fresh look can make all the difference, and in Akihiro's case, it elevated him from just another angry offspring to a formidable and memorable Dark Avenger. At number 7, Lex Luthor is back in business. You see, when Lex Luthor first showed up in the comic world, he was just your typical mad scientist type. You know, the whole lab coat and crazy lack of hair deal. I mean, it was okay, I guess, but then things got really interesting. In the Silver and Bronze Ages of comics, they started experimenting with his look, and slowly but surely, it did get better. But DC Comics wouldn't stop there. They saw the potential in Lex, and eventually they took him to the next level, turning him into a businessman. And you know what? That was the best thing that probably ever happened to him, because his business suit suits him perfectly. It's like he was born to wear it. It's all about that duality, you know. On the surface, he's this respectable guy running a corporation, but underneath, he's still that same old Lex plotting and scheming. It's now become his trademark look, and honestly, it's made him a more compelling character as a whole. And number 6 is the humanoid version of Ultron. Ultron's been through many bodies, and there usually isn't much difference between them. However, his humanoid form and his very first original body are leagues apart. The lab assistant robot Pym initially created had a sort of Art Deco feel to it, but it really didn't look intimidating whatsoever. I mean, it wasn't meant to. However, Ultron's humanoid forms absolutely took the terrifying up a notch. Ultron's very first adamantium body is absolutely perfect. It has some heft to it, and it looks like it can do some serious damage. Now, the best part of Ultron's look across all of his incarnations has always been his faceplate, a chilling, inhuman visage that every Avengers fan loves. And while some Ultron bodies are better than others, the very first humanoid body is a massively important part of the character's development. And number 5 is Superboy Prime. Superboy Prime's big villain reveal was a total plot twist, but let's be honest, his original look was kinda meh. I mean, he had the whole traditional Superman thing going on, but he looked more like a cosplay enthusiast than a real threat. Then, bam, he's back from the Speed Force, rocking this wicked armor made from the Anti-Monitor's remains. Talk about a makeover. This new getup still rocks the S-Shield emblem, but it's edgier and way more intimidating. And the best part, it's not just for show. That's right, the armor isn't just a fashion statement. It's got some serious functionality. It actually stores up yellow sun energy to supercharge his powers. So not only does he look cooler, but Superboy Prime is also way more powerful in this fit. A win-win in the world of supervillain redesigns. At number 4, speaking of Anti-Monitor, we've got Anti-Monitor's second form. DC villains are well known for their epic battles and high elimination counts, but when it comes to the ultimate universe-destroying baddie, Anti-Monitor takes the cake. In Crisis on Infinite Earths, he wiped out entire realities like it was no big deal. And when we first laid eyes on him, it was spine-tinglingly awesome. But here's a twist, he didn't stick with that same old look. After taking down Supergirl in a brutal showdown, he came back with a brand new suit of armor, and let me tell you, it was like a total upgrade. A different shape, totally different colors, the whole shebang, which really brought a whole new level of intimidating. This revamped look has become his signature style, and even though artists have tried to update it over the years, none can top that masterpiece. And number 3 is Mr. Freeze from the animated series. Remember way back in the day when Mr. Freeze was just a goofy mad scientist who dressed in a green and red suit with a fishbowl on his head? Wasn't too menacing. But then, Batman the animated series came along and gave him an insane makeover. They dropped the tragic backstory bomb on him concerning his frozen wife, and then they dressed him up all sleek and futuristic with muted blues, a cooler domed helmet, and those long segmented limbs. He looks like a robot straight out of a vintage cartoon. The thing is, even though his backstory and the character got more depth in the comics later on, nobody really stuck with that awesome animated look, which is such a shame because I really think there was a missed opportunity here. And number 2 is Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom is one of Marvel's most iconic villains, but he didn't start out as the menacing figure we all know and love today. When he first popped up in Fantastic Four number 5, he had a cool vibe, but wasn't really the ultimate baddie he would become. Thanks to artist genius Jack Kirby and some trial and error, Dr. Doom's look evolved into something legendary. Doom's costume, with its medieval meets modern tech style, is nothing short of perfection. It's a visual representation of his brilliance and power, and that's pretty much why it hasn't changed very much over the years. It encapsulates everything that makes Doom the quintessential villain. So in the world of villain redesigns, Dr. Doom's classic look stands tall as a shining example of how sometimes the very first design is the very best. And at number 1, General Zod's post-Infinite Crisis prison uniform. General Zod had his fair share of makeovers throughout the years, but the one that really hit the bullseye was his look in Last Son of Krypton. Forget the flashy Silver Age military getup or the overly complicated versions from modern comics. This time, Zod rocked a sleek Kryptonian prison uniform. Clean, simple, and totally on point. It's a white, black, and gray ensemble with a cool overcoat and snazzy goggles to boot. These goggles weren't just for show either, because they help him see in the Phantom Zone. Talk about fashion meeting function. Wait, I'm not sure why the Kryptonians would want their prisoners to be able to see in the Phantom Zone. I digress. Now, fast forward to the inevitable redesigns. They couldn't capture the essence of that original iconic look. Sometimes less is more. These villainous makeovers got baddies looking even more menacing than they used to. As always, you guys, if there's a villain redesign that you think I've missed, feel free to let me know down in the comments, and hopefully I'll include your suggestions in part 2 of this video, if this video does well enough. This has been AJ Spatola with Top 10 Nerd, and I'll catch you all in another video. Later.